シャリアピンステーキね。安い肉を玉ねぎで柔らかくしたわけか。
確かに、英語牛の余韻に浸ったまま帰りたいっす。
Hey guys, today we'll be making the chaliapin steak from Food Wars. It consists of several different components coming together in a bowl, which makes it a comforting experience to eat. I like this dish a lot, so I hope you guys will like it as much as I did. So without further ado, let's get started. The first ingredient that we'll need are onions. I'll be using these large white onions, since that's what Soma uses well. Start by cutting off the ends of the onions. What I like to do is make a small cut on the side, so I can peel off the skin of the onion. I'll then cut the onions into two parts and peel off the outer layer. Then, I like to dice the layers one by one. The reason why I'm not dicing the whole onion in one time is because this way, I have more control over the size of the diced onions. That's quite important for the end result. I peeled the onion layer by layer and diced each layer individually. In the end, I diced up 5 onions using this method. Next, we'll need some meat. I'll use sirloin steak since that's the cut that Soma used as well. I got a large piece so I can slice it as thick as I want. I like my steak like I like my woman, extra thick, so I cut it a bit thicker than Soma. With a knife, we'll score the surface of the steak. Don't go too deep, just use the tip. Score both sides of the steak, and after that's done, season both sides with both salt and pepper. Now, get a large plate, along with the onions we diced up earlier. Make a bed of onions on the plate, onto which you'll lay the steak. Then, cover the steak with a blanket of onions. Wish it good night and put it into the fridge for 2 hours. This way it can tenderize. After the 2 hours have passed, get the steak out of the onions. Clean off the onions from the steak. Try to remove all of the onions, otherwise they'll get burned when you cook the steak later on. After removing the onions, get a paper towel and pat the steak dry. This will help with getting a better sear later on. Before cooking the steak, we'll prepare some ingredients we'll use later on when plating the dish. To begin with, we'll make some plum paste. What I have here is umeboshi, or pickled plum. To make a paste, get the seed out, then cut them all very finely. Use the back of the knife to smash it against the cutting board until it turns into a paste like this. Next, we'll cut some scallions very thinly. We'll use this as a garnish at the end. Before I start cooking everything, I want to say something about the soy sauce I used. In the anime, they use regular dark, but recently I bought this clear version, which tastes exactly like normal soy sauce. I like to use it for sauces since it gives a more glossy color than regular soy sauce. But you guys can use the normal one if you want to, it really won't make a difference. Now, with that out of the way, let's start cooking the steak. Get a pan on a high heat. Add some oil. I use canola. Once the oil is smoking, add the steak away from you, as to not burn yourself. I let the steak get a nice sear on each side for about 2 minutes. Then, after I got a nice sear, I added in a ton of butter, about 3 tablespoons. This is to braise the steak with it. My battery died, so I had to focus on that while cooking the steak, which resulted in it being a bit overcooked, but it was still very delicious. Get the steak out and let it rest for about 10 minutes. Add the minced onions we used to tenderize the steak to the pan we cooked the steak in. Add salt and pepper to your liking. Let the onions cook on a medium-high heat, constantly stirring, until they turn a beautifully golden brown color, like this. Now, let's make the sauce. For the sauce, I'll use the clear soy sauce I showed earlier. You can use a dark one as well. Let it cook for a minute on high heat until it starts to smell burned. Once that happens, add 1.5 cups of red wine. Bring it to a simmer and let it reduce for about 5 minutes. After that, add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch slurry. Mix it and let it reduce for another 2 minutes. To finish off, add 2 tablespoons of butter and mix it until it's nicely emulsified. With that, the sauce is done. The steak should be well rested by now, so let's slice it up. It was slightly overcooked because of the camera issues that I had, but it still turned out fine. Now that we have all the components, we can start with the plating of the dish. I had cooked some white rice earlier. I cooked basmati, since I prefer my rice to be more on the fluffy side. In a future video I can show you guys how to make rice if you want to. Start by adding a ton of cooked rice to your bowl. Then, to the rice, add the umeboshi paste and mix it up. It should get a nice sakura-like color, like this. After that, top the rice with the sauce that we had made earlier. Then, add the steak we cut up. After that, add a ton of the cooked onions to make a mini golden mountain on top. To top it off, add the sliced scallions as a garnish. With that, the Yukihira style Chaliapin Steak Don is done, pun intended. Now it's time to taste. I love this dish. I'm always of the opinion that steak makes everything better, and with this, it held true as well. We add the rich steak, topped with the golden onions, which were balanced by the acidic rice. The sauce brought all these flavors together. It was very pleasant to eat, and I definitely recommend you guys to try it. So yeah, that was the video. Once again, thanks for the 1000 subscribers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a nice day.